Okay.
Okay. Good morning. Good to see you. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Pottstown. This fellowship has provided a religiously liberal option in Pottstown for about 58 years. With hearts alive, we continue that tradition with the hope that here each is truly seen, that here each will be welcomed into the garden of this community, where the simple and the elegant, the fluted and the frill, the shy and the dramatic complement one another and are treasured. May we know that here each contributes in their own way to the beauty of the whole. Come, let us be together, all genders, sexualities, politics. May we root ourselves in the values of this faith. You are welcome here. And also, I'd like to welcome Zoom visitors this morning, if we have some. And I'd like to thank Rick Dusky for technical assistance. What would we do without the tech team? Thank you. And it's time for announcements. If anyone has an announcement, you can come forward at this time.
I'll just make this loud. Try to use a side mic and hope again, you might have feedback like that does, but it did. So we can go back into a hiding place, pending some renovation to our system with some little things sitting behind Judy or behind CJ. It's a new system to be installed in the future. This way, if you want to talk loud, you can, or you can use the mic.
There you go, Bob.
You talk loud.
I'll pick that up. Well, good morning. I'll be talking loud today. My name is Irene, and in the spirit of second Sunday of the month, we'll be holding a social justice action circle after the service today. So I welcome all of you to get something quick to eat and come join us here in the circle. We have a lot to discuss. Thank you so much.
Anyone else? No? I have two announcements. This morning, if you look at your order of service, you'll see that where we usually sing the children out right after the story time, we won't be doing that today because we have a special event this morning that we'd like the kids to be able to witness and observe. And as well, I'd like to introduce our speaker. He's a former member of the Congregational Life staff of the Central East region of UUA and currently serves as an adjunct consultant. In this capacity, he served as consultant to congregations, assisting with training, presentations, and facilitation of congregational meetings and events. He is a member of the Unitarian Fellowship, or it's the Church of Delaware County in media, where he has served in many capacities since joining the congregation in 1994. He is, also has his own business providing training and consultation to agencies in the healthcare field. We're happy to have Mark Bernstein with us here today. Mark has some opening words for us.
Good morning. I'm very happy to be with you, to be back here again. I'm no stranger to the Pottstown area. For many, many years, I did some work around here, and I kind of miss traveling up 422. Today was beautiful because there was no traffic. The opening words are those of Margaret Weiss. Come into this place with your whole self, the parts that are raw and exposed, the part that is beaming with joy, the part that is seeking the truth, the new, the possibility. Come into this place, open your heart, lay down your burden, lift up your hope for something new to happen. Come into this place with fellow travelers on the journey, some faces new and others familiar, and all welcoming you here now to this moment Come, let us worship together. I'd like to call on someone to come up and light the chalice, preferably someone from the younger set. Please, thank you. You can come also and help if you want. You've been doing that for a while, haven't you? The chalice lighting reading are the words of Paul Stephen Dodenhoff. For this 1 hour, Spirit of Life, we let go. For this 1 hour, may we let go of our anxieties, our fears, our anger, our self-doubts, our regrets, our petty grievances, and our distractions. If only for this 1 hour, let the flame of this chalice burn them from the hearts and minds and light our way to peace and serenity for this one holy hour. The words of Paul Stephen Dodenhoff. The morning hymn is number 346. Come sing a song with me. Please rise in body or in spirit.
Song with me, come sing a song with me, that I might know your heart.
I know that normally, for the story for all ages, the reader gets down there and, reads to everyone. I'm gonna stay up here for 2 reasons. One, if I get down there, I won't be able to get back up. And because of the problem with the microphones, I want to make sure that everybody, can hear the story. But if anyone would like to come forward and sit somewhere down there, you're welcome to, or stay with you, or it's really up to you. So with apologies to the writer O. Henry, Here is a condensed and lovingly but heavily edited version of his classic short story entitled The Last Leaf. Some of you might know it. In the neighborhood of Greenwich Village in New York City, there lived two women named Jonesy and Sue. Make sure he's still there. Now, during this particular winter, pneumonia was making its rounds and it fell Jonesy, who became very ill. A doctor visited and told Sue that Jonesy had a 1 in 10 chance of living, and that her only chance was to want to live, since hopelessness can be as fatal as pneumonia. Without hope, the doctor's medicine would have no effect, and she would not regain her health. Outside the window in Jonesy's bedroom was a tree with a few leaves left on it. Jonesy counted the leaves and then said to Sue, "When the last leaf falls to the ground, I will die." Now, Sue remembered what the doctor said about holding on to hope, and she decided to visit their downstairs neighbor, a painter named Bernstein. Bernstein told Sue that he had yet to paint his masterpiece, and together they hatched a plan. That night there was a violent storm, wind and rain, but Jonesy woke to see a last leaf hanging on the tree. Jonesy was sure that the leaf would have fallen in the storm. She said to Sue, "Something has made that last leaf stay there to show me how wrong I was to give up hope." She began to feel better, and when the doctor visited her later that day, he predicted that she would make a full recovery. A couple of days later, Sue went to give the painter Bernstein the good news about Jonesy, and found out that he had caught pneumonia the night of the storm and died the next day. The janitor had found him sick in his room, dressed in cold, wet clothes, as though he'd been out in the storm. In his room, Bernstein had a ladder and painting materials, which revealed that he had stayed out all night painting the image of a leaf onto Jonesy's window so that Jonesy would think the last leaf had survived the storm. In doing so, and in giving Jonesy hope, Bernstein, Sue thought, had finally painted his masterpiece. Thank you for listening to my story.
We're going to have a new member recognition ceremony. New member recognition day is one of my favorite days at UUFP. Since our last recognition ceremony, that was back in, I think, November, 7 people have fulfilled the conditions of membership as specified in the fellowship's bylaws and have been accepted as members and have signed the membership book. In joining a church such as ours, members agree that they are in mutual and fundamental sympathy with the principles of freedom and reason in religion and life. This is the basis of our creedless church. As well, they commit to the importance of a democratically organized religious fellowship. Ideas and ideals must have a vehicle and embodiment in the world. People who think and work together for values in which they believe have a better chance of achieving them than people who do not. And finally, they accept the responsibilities which go with membership in any human community. So, within the limits of their ability and in line with their personal choice, they are ready to give time, talent, treasure, and their best thought to the furthering of the ideals they prize. And we have our leaders come forward.
I'm reader number 2. I'm Linda. This morning, we celebrate and enthusiastically welcome as new members of this congregation the following people. I will read the names of the new members. When you hear your name, please come to the front of the sanctuary and bring your order of service with you. Irene Carasquela, David Sutton, Rebecca Marion, Eric Carter, and Tom Lavage, Jessica Matthews, and Matthew Poyesi.
Welcome you as members of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Pottstown. We need your courage and your skills, just as you, being human, need our supporting fellowship. May you find here fulfillment, deep listening, encouragement, and patience. We would have you wade into our deep waters of memory and hope. We would have your roots entangle with ours as we all grow in wisdom and compassion. We welcome you. Would everyone please find your copy of the UFP Covenant, both in your order of service and on the screens in front of the sanctuary. Let's everyone, members, associate members, officers, and friends, now rise and join our newest members as we recommit to our beloved community by reading the UFP Covenant all together. In the pursuit of truth and in the spirit of justice, unite in passion, fellowship, and service. With you, principles on high, we come into a full and nurturing community where all are welcome to spiritual, intellectual stimulation, and spiritual nourishment. Presume good intentions, even in times of conflict, and go beyond tolerance to understanding. Consider carefully the potential results of our words and actions. Behave with kindness and respect towards others. Enrich our liberal religious community by encouraging diversity among our members and exemplifying an open mind within the larger community. Cultivate the health of the congregation through sharing strength. We maturely of ourselves as we are able to the task we choose together. Support one another in all phases of life. Nurture the growth and education of our children who are an integral part of our community. Have faith in our chosen leadership and be supportive of them in their efforts. Honor collective space by respecting sanctity of our building and grounds and the gifts contained within.
You did. Very good. Very good. How are you? Right.
Friday, I lost my place. I love this. We welcome you to our membership. We welcome your commitment to our shared ideals. We encourage you to participate fully in the life of the congregation. Everyone, please join us in the social hall after the service for tea and coffee and celebratory cake, where you can also personally welcome and congratulate our new members. Thank you. You may be seated. Oh, the offertory, I look for that. We pass the plate during our worship service to make a community expression of thanks for the blessings of your gifts of time and treasure. Our offering says that the act of giving is as essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do here on Sunday mornings. The morning offering will now be given and received in the spirit of grateful fellowship.
If you were here for the first time, we're thrilled that you're present. That is sufficient offering for us.
Welcome to the new members. How nice it is to have so many new members. And I'm a big proponent of covenants. I led the effort in my congregation to create a new covenant, and I think your covenant is just beautiful.
With the inspiration for that. In fact, you were the inspiration.
I was the inspiration. You're welcome. This morning's reading are the words of Jürgen Moltmann, theologian. Faith, wherever it develops into hope, causes not rest but unrest, not patience but impatience. It does not calm the unquiet heart, but is itself this unquiet heart in all of us. Those who hope can no longer put up with reality as it is, but begin to suffer under it, to contradict it. True hope means conflict with the world, for the goal of the promised future stabs inexorably into the flesh of every unfulfilled present. The words of Jürgen Moltmann. Now a time to center. Please love doing this. These are the words of Judith L. Quarles, not to be confused with Emily Quarles. How shall we pray? First, let us be open to the silence. Let us hear the sounds in this room, the noises outside. let us begin to hear the soft beating of our hearts, and let us listen intently for messages from within. Next, let us feel gratitude for our lives and for our beautiful earth. As hard as life gets, as sad or lonely as we sometimes feel, let us always be warmed by the gifts of this life. Next, let us hold in our hearts all those known or unknown who are in need. May we find in ourselves the energy and knowledge to bring care to the world. And finally, let us be aware of the blessing that it is not ours alone to do the work of the world. Love and community work wonders that we by ourselves could never manage. In this time of silence, let us form our own prayers out of the concerns of our hearts. When I was a kid back in the 50s, I know I don't look that old. I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. The one toy that I wanted more than anything else in the world was an electric football game. I dropped subtle hints to my parents, and I spent a few months leading up to my birthday filled with hope that I would get this amazing gift. Does anyone remember this toy? Yeah, there are a few of us, absolutely. It was made by Tudor Metal Products, and it consisted of a metallic board decorated to resemble a football field, plus 22 little metal figures to place atop the field. Beneath the playing field was a motor, which caused the board to vibrate at the flip of a switch. These vibrations moved the players around the field, usually in all different directions. One of the players, the quarterback, had a moving arm, and you would put this tiny cloth thing that was supposed to be a football in the arm and then launch it into play. I don't remember the rules very well after all these years, but chaos ensued on this metal board as a combination of magnetism and luck helped the football figures move the ball to and fro. Now, the game had a lot of problems. Those of you who remember it will remember that as well. There was limited control over the players. The quarterback had as much accuracy and control in his throws as an infant. And the player figures would sometimes wobble around in circles if their bases became the slightest bit damaged. And after every play, it would take forever to set up all the figures' information to run the next play. So after maybe about 2 weeks of playing the game, I grew tired of it. It was tedious and not very exciting, and I really wondered why I wanted the darn thing in the first place. Here I had hoped and hoped for weeks leading up to my birthday, and the result was disappointing. My life hadn't changed, and I kind of wasted a good birthday present. I tell you this opening story to point out that while our lives are filled with hope, while hope is so essential to our being, sometimes hope hurts. Sometimes hope disappoints. Now, I realize that giving a sermon on hope is not supposed to start out this way. I'm really okay with hope. It gets us through difficult times. It helps us to get up in the morning. It enables us, as Desmond Tutu wrote, to see that there is light despite all of the darkness. And Martin Luther King counseled us on accepting finite disappointment, but never losing infinite hope. And then, of course, there is the immortal philosopher, Yogi Berra, who famously said, "It ain't over till it's over." So I'm not here to denigrate hope. I love hope. And it's evident that without hope, life just wouldn't be worth living. The absence of hope, I believe, is not hopelessness. It is desolation. Without hope, we give up. We resign ourselves to an existence devoid of joy and wonder and faith, and yes, electric football games. The Unitarian Universalist minister, Reverend Diane Daugert, in a 2016 sermon wrote, "It is the nature of hope to rise. It lifts our spirits. It buoys us when despair threatens to drag us down." So I'm good with hope. But here's the thing. Hope alone is not enough. Hope is at best a starting point. Rebecca Solnit, in her book, The Case for Hope, suggests that we think of hope as the match, but not the tinder of the blaze. To matter, she contends, to change the world, you also need devotion and will, and you need to act. There is, of course, the kind of hope that does not involve action, those things over which we have no control. For example, I hope that the Phillies win the World Series this year. Actually, I don't. I'm a Mets fan. Don't leave. I hope that my great aunt recovers from the effects of her fall. I hope that we get warmer weather soon. But for most of the things that we hope for in our lives, the unwillingness or inability to take action leaves us empty or disappointed or simply inert. Hence the quote from Sir Francis Bacon, "Hope is a good breakfast, but it is a bad supper." We begin our day with hope, full of promise, and it feeds and nourishes us as we go about our lives. But in the end, if all we are left with is hope, it provides for a meager feast to end our day. If hope floats, it does so only when it is followed by action. Hope is wishing on a star. Action is making our wishes come true. Again, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. We need hope in our lives, if only as a catalyst. Hope rises out of a yearning, a cry for something new or better. As Moltmann tells us in the opening reading, hope causes not rest, but unrest, not patience, but impatience. It does not calm the unquiet heart, but is itself this unquiet heart in all of us. Is that not more true today than ever? So hope is the starting point that spurs us to action. One hopes to repair a broken marriage, and so one seeks marital counseling. Another hopes to take that long-awaited vacation in Hawaii, and so seeks a second job over the holidays to earn extra income. A third hopes for a return to decency and morality in our nation's capital, and so seeks to run for office or demonstrates in the streets or canvasses door to door or donates money to a political campaign. Still another hopes to lose weight and so joins a gym or Weight Watchers or simply walks around the high school track a couple of times each night. Hope, in order to mean something, has to be tangible. It needs to impact on our lives and the lives of others in a way that makes a difference. Theologian Paul Waddell puts it this way: hope has to be seen to be believed. It has to be made visible. It has to be something we can feel and touch. And if hope inspires action, doesn't it follow that action in turn inspires hope? The author and activist Cornel West, along with a colleague, Roberto Unger, contend that hope is not the condition or cause of action, but rather that hope is the consequence of action. As West and Unger see it, when we lose hope, we take action. And that restores our sense of hope. Hope in a better world, or a better life, or a better tomorrow. So maybe this interrelationship of hope and action is not linear, but rather circular. I hope, I act, I have renewed hope, I act again, and so on. In the late 1990s, I was burned out in a job that I had held for 13 years. I was hoping for something to change. My tyrannical boss would get off my back. My problem employees would decide to go to work for another agency. My energy and creativity would suddenly return. I was in a rut, and I was unhappy. When I realized that hope alone was not going to get me out of this, I decided to take action. I was invited to attend a self-improvement seminar conducted by a group called Landmark Forum. This was in Philly. You know it. Yeah. The seminar lasted all weekend, and it was intense. As a result of that experience, I looked at myself and my life and my values in an entirely new way. I was given renewed hope that I could find my calling and that it wasn't too late to make a difference in the world. A few months later, filled with hope, I left my job and I started my own business. That led me to adventures I never would have dreamed possible, including 7 exciting and life-changing years as a staff member of the Unitarian Universalist Association. My hope called me to act, and taking action gave me renewed hope, which in turn inspired me to take even more action. As Unitarian Universalists, we are called to translate our hope into action. It is part of our legacy. UU leader Taqiyya Amin reminds us that Unitarian Universalism calls us to, quote, work toward building a sustainable, equitable context for all of us to live and thrive. If we embrace and believe in our principles, he wrote, we can't sit idly by in the absence of those ideals in our society. And Amin challenges with the statement, if you aren't called to act in, on, and through our principles, maybe you shouldn't call yourself a Unitarian Universalist. It's kind of like asking the metaphysical question, if a Unitarian Universalist falls in the forest and there is no one to hear it, does it make a sound? In today's deeply troubling and disturbing world, where the stakes are so high, where the assault on individual freedoms seems to know no bounds, where democracy itself is truly under assault, we cannot just hope that things get better. We need to follow up that hope with action. For my part, I am writing and calling legislators constantly. I am posting on Facebook. I am signing petitions. I am an active member of my local Democratic committee, and I volunteer 2 days a week at a food pantry in Chester, Pennsylvania, one of the most impoverished cities in the 5-county Philadelphia area, serving people, many of whom are afraid to step out of their doors for fear of being swept up in an ICE raid. Hope and action need each other. They are linked in an eternal dance that all human beings engage in. And we as Unitarian Universalists dance as well. Our faith calls us to be positive, and optimistic and to believe in the promise of a better world, our principles compel us to take action to realize that world. I believe that all of us, as Unitarian Universalists, need to figure out how we're going to dance this dance with hope and action. It is a decision that we can only make for ourselves. For me, while not a particularly good dancer, I will attempt at least to stay on the dance floor, to hope for better things, and to do what I can to make things better. And now that I think about it, I might still have that electric football game up in my attic. I'll have to get it down and give it another try. I hope it's up there. The closing hymn this morning is number 347. Gather the Spirit, please rise in body or in spirit.
To extinguish the chalice, you'll find the words in your order of service or on the screen. We distinguish this flag. Light of wisdom, the heart of community, the fire of commitments, each air in our hearts and our hands until we are together. Thank you. Join us for coffee and cake.
Yes.
No, it's being plotted by, it's like, we're all concerned. It's not quite the best time to go there, but it's still needed.
Much easier.
Yeah.
And your boy is proud. Right.
That's right.